Hey everybody, Tom here, and today I want to teach you how to set up a game of smartphone. And just a couple of things right up front. First of all, I kickstarted this, so what you're going to be seeing is the Kickstarter edition. But as far as I know, the stuff that I'm setting up is all just regular stuff. So even if you own the regular edition, you should be able to watch this just fine. The other thing I'm going to point out, you're going to see right as I open the box, is that I actually created a custom insert pieces. Essentially, I created my own storage solution. So if you are interested in seeing the stuff that is my storage solution, and I'll try to point them out, it's like printed looking stuff like this, you can go visit my website at tomteachesgames.com. And there you will have access to see like pictures of them, which, I mean, you don't need pictures, you're watching this, but you will be able to find, like, I'll have links to the files where you can download them for free, and I'll also have like a video to show you how to make the storage solution and all of that stuff. So here we go. Anyway, when you open the box, there's going to be basically a big old pile of papers. So let's go through those papers really fast. First thing you're going to probably notice is going to be some player shields. Now, I'm going to be playing the blue player and the red player, so I will grab these shields for a second, but because of the nature of my channel and my videos, I won't be needing these player shields necessarily, and so, I mean, I'll set them aside for a minute, but then I will kind of get rid of them. So that's the blue player, we won't need the black player. This is actually a player board for an official solo mode that comes in the game, which I will not be playing, but that's what that is there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. Here's the yellow player shield and the red player shield. We'll set up the red player over here. And then we've got the red or green player shield. I don't know why I didn't have those in a good order. All right, next up, this is going to be the score tracker. So I think I'll keep the score, let's put it on that side of the board. Then in this Kickstarter version, there are 3 rule books. There's a rule book that I think is going to be an expansion that comes out later on for other people. So I'm guessing. So it says update 1.1. This is like expansion content. So we'll just get rid of that because I won't be using it. There is the normal rule book looks like this. It just says rule book right there. And just a quick note, because I usually say this as I'm setting up, I thought this rule book was pretty good. I did have a few questions as I've been playing through a couple of times in preparation for this video. A few questions of things that weren't super duper clear. I don't know. I'd give the rule book 7 out of 10 probably. They had pretty good examples. There was, like I said, I had to look up some things because there were a couple of things that weren't so clear, but overall it was all right. Then because I kickstarted it, it came with a couple more supplies, so there's that. This is the rule book for the solo mode. And then this is like an achievements list thing. I never use these, but it comes with that. Okay, so that's the stack of papers you're going to see right when you open the box. Next, what I've got here, I'm just going to kind of point at the storage solutions that I've created so that you can see them. We have 5 player boxes right here, so I'm going to need the red one and the blue one, and we'll dive into what the pieces are there. But yeah, you're going to have a bunch of player pieces. In fact, maybe this is the good time to say that the game actually came with these storage solutions, one for each player, which is cool, and I was actually super excited about it. It actually comes with ways to store the pieces for the player stuff. But in general, there were some things I didn't quite understand about this insert, and it took up a ton of space. Like, you only needed half of this space, as you could see, to store all of the player stuff. So it was taking up too much space. It was really tricky to get these when they were all in the box. It was tough to get them out. And the stuff here on the side, and you can, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like this weird ribbon around. It was a little confusing. So that's why I ended up making my own. But these do come with the game. So maybe you're going to be happy with it, and more power to you. In fact, you can kind of see it's recessed here on the top to hold the pads that we'll be talking about in a second. Anyway, so that does come with the game. I just didn't love it, so I made my own stuff. All right, so we're not going to need this player stuff, so I'll go ahead and get rid of that. It's going to come with a bunch of tokens, at least this Kickstarter version. These are like scenario-based tokens, and kind of weird. They didn't include the scenarios as paper. You have to like scan a QR code or go to their website to download the scenarios. and go through that. So kind of an interesting choice where they had already given us so many papers. Why they didn't include that information on paper, I don't really understand. Okay, so these are going to be general components for the game. So I'm going to go ahead and take out these boxes and just put them here for now. These are going to be these retailer, I don't know what to call them, sticks. We're going to need those. So we'll go ahead and take that out. And the Kickstarter version comes with a hardcore mode version of these pads. We won't need that one. We'll just need the regular version of these pads that kind of look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out as well. Now, again, this version came with 2 boards. One, I think, was with the expansion, and one's the base one. The rulebook recommends to not use the expansion base board. All right, let's talk about this. So the main board is pretty big, and it's dual layered, so it looks super thick, but it's you can kind of see there, it's dual layered. So I'm just going to use the regular big board. The other board is for 2 or 3 players, but the rule book recommends that unless you're well versed in the game, don't use this board. And I'm not well versed, and we're doing this how to play video. So I'm going to not play with the 2 to 3 player board, even though I am doing 2 players. We're just going to stick with the regular board. So I'm all done taking stuff out of the box. So let's go ahead and see if we can set up the board. Now it's dual layer. You want to be careful so you don't damage it. And so kind of the way that I like to do this is there's a middle point. Where is it? Right there. All right, so basically halfway through, you can kind of open it up like that. And this set of yellow bars is going to be on the far right. So you can kind of, once you have it open like this, you can lift up both of those sides and open it just like that. And there's your big player board. Now, this stuff, for the most part, these tokens, these improvements and these goods tokens, those are base game things. And then here in this box, there are a couple of these mini upgrades. That's for the expansion, but whatever. We're going to be using these tokens here, so I'm just going to remove the lid, and I'll slide that over there, and we'll deal with that in just a second. But in this box, what we're going to have is we're going to have directives. That's an expansion thing, so don't worry about that. But we are going to need some technology tiles. We're going to need these patent tiles. Steve is for the solo version, so we won't need him. And then we're going to need these 2 markers. So again, I'm just kind of trying to show you this box so you can kind of see what we have going on. So we won't need the directives. Now, the expansion comes with more technology. Let's talk about that in just a second. But you're going to need these 6 markers here. And what you're going to want to do is look at this icon here and find the matching icon on these tokens. So let's see, that's on camera right now, so we can do that one. Here's Wi-Fi. So this is like games, Wi-Fi, 4G's over there. I don't know. I always think this is like Netscape. I don't know what that is. Network? Who knows? GPS goes right here. And battery goes right here. So let's take these over. And so 4G is going to go there. And Netscape goes right there. All right, next, what we've got are a bunch of technology tiles. And you can tell by the color and the shape, they're going to go in here. Now you could just shuffle these, and they're double-sided, so we have 4G on this side and 4G on that side. You could shuffle them up and just put them out randomly. I'm going to just stick with the learning the game setup. So what that is there are 6 of these from the base game. And they didn't do this, and it kind of made me sad. So these are the 6 tiles from the base game, and the only way that I knew was looking at the rule book. So what I did is I went through and I just put, with a permanent marker, I just put a tiny dot, and for me, that dot means that these were from the expansion. And then this one here is a Kickstarter exclusive, so I put a little K there. I know that's going to make some people squirm, but I just thought it was easier than having to look them up in the rule book every time. So I'm not going to use these. And then with the 6 tiles that were with the base game, the front side, the easier side, looks like this. And then the more advanced side is going to have these corners darkened. So for us, we're just going to stick with the easy side, though again, you could go random. And same thing, we're going to match icons. So 4G is going to go there. Whatever that is goes there. Batteries gaming, Wi-Fi, and GPS. Now, in case you wanted to meet Steve, Steve looks just like this. He's kind of just as creepy here as he was on the paper. And then we're going to have these two round markers. One of them is going to mark which round we're in, and the other one is going to mark which part of the round we're in. For now, we have everything that we need out of this box, so I won't need anything else. It will just go back into the main box. All right, over here, we're going to need to shuffle these. And I already shuffled them. I shuffle before I clean up. But we're going to want to shuffle these improvement tiles. These don't need to be shuffled. They're the exact same on the front and the back. But these are not. You'll see now. But what we're going to do is we're going to fill up this market space here with these tiles. And I'll just show you the way that I've designed this box. I just wanted you to be able to just open the box and lay it out. I actually have, there's a typo here, but I fixed it on the original, I promise. No peeking. I just have this paper here so that you can't really see what's behind it. And that way you can just keep this on the table and you can just put your discarded items back in the back of the pile and be happy and wise. All right, let's put our score track there-ish, unless I change my mind later on. We'll see. And the last general thing that we're going to need to do is that we're going to need to put out the retailers. This is how you make the map smaller or larger for your different player counts. So this game plays up to 5 players. If you're playing with 5 players, you don't need any of these retailers on the board at all. You just ignore them. What I've tried to do with the boxes is I've tried to put instructions for where to put things depending on your player count. So since we're setting up a 2-player game, I'm going to go ahead and read those instructions as I go for this. But one thing I wanted to point out here is that you have small, medium, sorry, this isn't focusing very well, small, medium, and large size sticks, or whatever you want to call these. And here on the map, you have small locations, medium locations, and large locations, or these are countries or whatever. And so when we lay these out, we're going to need to match small, medium, or large. So the instructions in the rulebook and that I have right here say for 2 players, we need to cover China, Canada, and the Caribbean. So I'm looking here, and China is a large location. Now these are dual-sided and they have different special abilities, so I'm just going to pick one at random and we're going to put that one there. And it's tempting to cover the top part of this, but nope, you actually want to cover the bottom part just like that. So it was China, Canada, and the Caribbean. So Canada's small, so I'm just grabbing one of the small ones and we'll put it there. And the Caribbean, it doesn't matter, Caribbean is here. It's also small, so we'll grab this one and put it there. Okay, now it doesn't talk about it in the rulebook, but this does have a backside with this corner. I'm going to guess that that's like the advanced side, or I don't know if it's necessarily advanced or just different, but we'll just go like that for now. Okay, then what it says is we also need to put medium, we need to cover the medium regions that are not occupied by players' offices. I'll tell you what that means in just a second, but basically we're all going to start with an office on one of the medium spots. So blue starts here, green, red, yellow, and black. Since I'm playing with blue and red, I'm going to leave those alone. And that means that green, yellow, and black all need to get covered. Okay. All right. So for us, it's going to leave one stick. We'll just go ahead and put that in and then put it back in the box. For the most part, we're done setting up the general area. Let's go ahead and look at the player areas. So if you've seen my channel before, you know that for my playthroughs, because the camera's bouncing around so much, and just to make triple clear, I know that this is the blue player, but usually I like to put a blue paper underneath. Okay, so I'm going to do that. As I mentioned, normally you would set up these player shields. These player shields, it's kind of weird. They actually go this way. I don't know why they fold it that way. That's not how it goes. You basically want your information facing you, and then there's this beautiful artwork facing outwards. But basically, you would set up your player shield. Okay. And then there are phases in the game where you're doing hidden information and then you reveal from behind your shield. Because of the nature of this game, I am not going to be using these shields at all. And in fact, they're a little bit too busy for me to want to just keep them on camera. It's basically a multiplication table, plus shows you your starting stuff, but there's going to be other ways to know what your starting stuff is. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the player shields. And let's go ahead and look at this, and then we're going to also talk about these pads here in just a second. So I've tried to design these player boxes, again, to make setup really nice and easy. I actually did a summary of the order that the main actions of the game happen right here. So if you know the game already, you could just keep that next to you as a reminder of the order you're supposed to play in. But I also have a detailed round sequence thing here. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that like that so that as we're learning the game in the gameplay video, we can use that. Each player needs to start off with one of these tokens. So this is the blue player. It looks like this on this side and this on the other. And from our player shield, that's what it was instructing us to grab, was this piece here. And so we'll go ahead and start that. And then in here, I actually have 2 individual boxes. Plus, we're going to use the base of this to actually play the game. This here includes a bunch of marketing and scenario tokens that we don't need for the base game. This is all expansion and Kickstarter stuff. But we are going to need these goods cubes. And in fact, what I like to do is I just cover that, and we're going to dump these cubes into the unproduced goods area. And then we can just put this back in the box. This here is a bunch of progress tokens and office, or I guess progress markers and office markers. We're going to need those as we play. I've designed this divider to be loosey-goosey so that if you have bigger fingers, you can push them and be okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and place these here-ish. And, well, I think this is usually how I like to go. We'll see how I change my mind as time goes on. We'll do, I don't know, who cares? Something like that. All right, so we've got our markers and our tokens. We're going to have these here. And every player needs to start off with 2 pads. So we're playing with the regular pads. They're lighter. And what you're going to need is, basically, there are sets. All of the pads with this icon in the top corner are identical, and they're double-sided. Okay, so for example, here you can see this. These 2 with the black icons, these are identical. Each player is going to need 1 light icon and 1 dark icon. Okay, so I've got a light and a dark. We'll take this over to the red player probably right now. We'll get back to these guys in a minute. But we're almost done with the blue player. We basically just need to do 2 more things. We need to put a scoring marker, a scoring cube, and a market price cube. Now, this shield is telling us that we need to, oh, also we got to put a starting office. Our starting office is going to be in South America. And then we need to start on the number 4 on the scoring track. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But basically, I'm going to grab 2 cubes and 1 office. The office looks like that, if you can see it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's take these to the board. We're going to start with 1 office in South America. These stand up like this, but just to emphasize that it's there, since we're doing overhead stuff, I'm going to go ahead and lay it like that. You're going to put 1 cube on your starting color. So that's what the 4 was referencing from the player shield, that we start on the 4. And I want you to notice that we're starting in the 2nd position. Basically, that means that we are going to stick on the 2nd column over here. I'm slightly disappointed in the design of this in that they should have colored these all blue, in my opinion, just to make that extra clear. But for whatever reason, they didn't. Every player is going to start on the 5 spot, and we're going to start in the 2nd position. If the green player was playing, they would start here. If the black player was playing, they'd start here, and yellow, and then red's going to start here. So just so you know, that is a thing. And the blue player is done. So let's go ahead and get the red player set up. You can see they're going to start in, I literally don't know what CIS stands for. Maybe that's China? I'm going to guess, no, it's not China, it's above China. I don't know what that stands for. You can educate me, I'm pretty dumb. And we're going to start on the 7 on the score pad. We're going to start with this marker, which you'll see. I'm not going to use this here for our gameplay. So we've got, hold on one second, I got to straighten up the tablecloth. There we go. Okay, so we've got our 2 pads. We'll go ahead and open this box. I'm keeping this in there, so we've already got that. We'll remove our 2 boxes. We're going to dump the cubes into unproduced goods. I don't need this box anymore. We've got our player aid right here. And then we're going to have our progress tokens and our offices. We'll keep them maybe like that. Of course, I'll probably change my mind by the time we're ready to play. But we can be happy for now. And then last thing is we got to go to the board with 2 cubes and 1 office. This is going to be our home office. 1 cube here on the 7. And they're starting with their home office in this country that I don't understand. And we're going to start with our red cube right here. All right. Now, realistically, it doesn't necessarily matter which lane they're in, as long as red is to the right of blue. Yeah, anyway, so that's the idea, is that they're going to basically start in those lanes. And there you have it. We are officially set up. It is a little tricky to fit everything on the screen, but I've done the best that I can. And I am ready to teach you how to play smartphone. It looks a little bit overwhelming, and I think it can feel overwhelming for about 1 round, maybe 2. But they've really designed a nice game here where there's a lot of flow. If you're interested in seeing me teach and play this game with myself and to myself, then go ahead and check or click on the link in the description of this video, and I will see you there. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully that was helpful, and bye.